All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm super excited. We have a really special guest speaker. Before that, I did want to talk about two announcements that we have. We are going to run a Push to Emerald group next Monday, October 14th. So if you have any new coaches or if you yourself want to push to Emerald so that you can start getting those team bonus cycles, me and Jess are going to run a group from Monday the 14th through that Friday the 18th. Jess will be posting about that group. And we're also going to do a Push to Diamond group the following Monday. So the Diamond group will start Monday the 21st. You have to be an Emerald, hence why we're starting the Emerald group first and then following the Diamond group. Or probably just keep that Diamond group, same thing, like a 5-day Push to Diamond group for those people who really want to earn those $18 for your team bonus cycles and really actually build a business with this. So if you have new coaches or coaches that you've had on your radar for a while and want to follow up with them, say, hey, we have a new coach training starting on the 14th. I would really love to get you in on this. Let's get you started. What do you think? So that would be a great way to get potential coaches to join us. Hopefully Jess will post tomorrow. If not, we'll definitely get it up there as soon as we can. So our special guest speaker is actually my baby's sleeping coach. And the reason why I wanted her on, thank you so much, Brittney, is because she is my third sleeping coach. So I had a lot of hesitation, and I don't even want to say an objection because I know I needed her. And I kind of I think I told you guys last week or the week before, I needed her so bad. I needed sleep, right? You just get to that breaking point. And I looked at it you know what? I've been doing Beachbody coaching for 6 years. I forget what that felt like for me to be so, I'll do anything to feel better, to be confident, to lose the weight in a healthy way, right? So I was you know what? She would be absolutely amazing to have. Obviously, I signed up with her, and yes, Parker's asleep, and normally he will sleep 13 hours with only one wake up feed, and that's it. Pretty freaking awesome. And I just loved how she ran her business. And if you guys don't know Colleen Curtis, that's how I found her. So she's kind of been through the Beachbody coaches around here, and Jessica is also using her. But anyways, I'm kind of rambling at this point. But I just loved how she talked to me, how she kind of walked me through things. And she just did it in such a different way that I'm you know what? She would be awesome to have on our team call, just because we have a lot of moms on the call, number one. But number two is because she is a successful entrepreneur, and she really found her niche. And I'm you know what? Instead of having another Beachbody coach from another team, it would be so cool to kind of just hear her story, because we're all kind of right? We're looking for the people who want our help. We're looking to help people with their health and fitness, and she is looking for moms that desperately need sleep. So Brittney, thank you so much for joining us and hopping on. Take it away.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Rose, and thank you, ladies, for being on here. I know as a busy mom, it's hard to make the time. And when Rose introduced me, you were probably what the hell, a sleep consultant? I thought this was my team call. But I'm super excited to be here. And I just want to preface all of this by saying, I'm not a business coach. I'm a sleep consultant. And so when Rose, reached out and when we were chatting about this, I was flattered, but also a little bit can I hang? Can I do this? And the answer is yeah, I totally can. So I'm going to share my screen. I just have a couple of pictures I wanted to share with you guys. My background is in teaching, so I couldn't get through this without a PowerPoint, of course. Okay, so let's see. Maybe I haven't been in the classroom recently enough because I can't remember how to start it. Oh, there we are. Whoops. Oh, PowerPoint's now down. Okay, so.
Take your time. It happens all the time. Don't worry about it. If you can find it.
It's right here. I just don't know why it won't open. Okay, well,
It was those headphones.
I know. I was
Right?
trying to get yeah. Here we go. PowerPoint is opening. All right. Okay, so I'm Brittney, and like Rose said, I am actually a mom boss sleep consultant. So I have niched down in the last 2 years in my business, and I now serve women who are running their own businesses who need better sleep. So either they need better sleep because their kiddos aren't sleeping, or they need better sleep for themselves because, as we all know, as entrepreneurs, it's really hard to shut off your brain, shut off your phone, prioritize your own sleep, and essentially self-care. So I know we have all in our business journeys been encouraged to like define our why and share who that is. So I wanted to show you guys. This is my husband JJ and our 3-year-old son Lincoln. You will notice that we are laying in bed. One of my biggest hobbies is sleep. And after I became a mom 3 years and 3 months ago, I realized that my hobby of sleep and my new job as mom couldn't really fit together unless I did something to make them fit together, which is why I went through my own journey of teaching my own son how to sleep, and then ultimately started a business doing the same thing once I realized what a game changer it was. So my background is in science education, so the biology background, the teaching piece, all of that has come fairly easily to me with like the sleep science and, you know, working side by side with families to educate them and empower them to have this sleep knowledge. The piece that has been a work in progress has definitely been the business side. Obviously, as a teacher, I didn't have much entrepreneur experience behind me when I launched. So I started my business August of 2017. And I got home I went down to Florida for my certification, and I got home from certification on a Thursday, and school started on Monday. And I was a teacher with a 1-year-old who was going to start a business because why not, right? Let's be crazy and try to do all the things at the same time. So started my business. That first year I taught the whole time and started this sort of as a side hustle, I guess you could say. And by March, so about 6 months in, my husband and I realized, like, wait a minute, we need more time for this. And the only way to make more time was to quit my teaching job. So I gave my notice that June and didn't sign my contract for the next year, and then officially went full time August of 18. So 1 year in, like almost to the day. And in the last, so in the last year since then, so 2 total years, and I guess 2 years and almost 2 months in business, a year in, I quit my teaching gig. On the evening of my 2nd anniversary in business, I became a $100,000 earner, creating a 6-figure business, which was really surprising and really exciting for us. I serve clients worldwide. So not only locally in our small town of rural Nevada, but also around the world. Clients right now in Canada and China, and then of course all over the US. I think a lot of people are like, oh, so you're a sleep coach, so you like go to people's houses and like put their kids to sleep. No, I don't, because I like being home with my own son and doing bedtime for us. So instead, I have created a virtual business, and I do all virtual support. And most recently, as of August 1st of this year, so just at 2 years in business, I decided that I don't want to have a wait list anymore. I want to be able to serve clients more quickly than what I was. And so I have a couple of associate consultants that I'm training right now and onboarding. I have 2 now. I have one being trained later this month, and then I have one in March and one in April so far lined up. And my big girl dream, like big girl dream, is to have a sleep consulting agency, and to be able to pair clients with consultants that can closely identify with their situation. So Rose and I connected, Colleen and I connected because you guys are mom bosses doing the same thing that I'm trying to do. And we all know as moms, if you aren't sleeping, it's hard to run a business. It's hard to stay healthy. It's hard to find self-care. And similarly, if you're home with little ones trying to build a business, if your little ones aren't napping, it's really hard to build a business because you can't nap time hustle if there's no nap. So similar to how Rose was saying at the beginning that I found my niche within like the mom bosses, I know not everyone I serve will always be that. And so like I want to eventually have like a military-based consultant who can support military families. So moms who are like trying to raise babies while dads are deployed. I want to have consultants who can like who have been in the corporate world and who can identify with moms who are back to work in the corporate world trying to like pump in boardrooms and do all of those sorts of things. And the way this whole thing came to be in growing an agency is that to me, connection with my people is the most important part of my business. And I want all of my clients to be able to feel that, even if they're not work from home moms. So the ways that I've really grown in 2 years, which it was not expected for it to boom so quickly, but it has. So I think the biggest thing in looking at myself as compared to other sleep consultants, which is it's becoming a lot more popular as an industry. And one thing that I have always maintained is that just because something is industry standard doesn't mean that's the way I have to do it. And I think as our businesses and our fields become more saturated, finding ways to set yourselves apart from the other people by going beyond, above and beyond industry standard is so incredibly important. One of my mentors, and I'm going to draw a blank on the name of the book, but blue ocean strategy is a concept where, like in biology, and I won't get like super nerdy on you, but when an ecosystem is like disrupted by something like climate change or by like overgrowth of a bad thing in the population, the ocean can become like red. So red, like to symbolize like blood and dying and death, and like you don't want a red ocean, you want a blue ocean. And so when something becomes too saturated with one thing, one way above that or beyond that is to create a blue ocean strategy. So for me, getting adult certified sets me apart from the industry standard, because the industry standard is that you are a baby sleep consultant. Well, I didn't want to just be a baby sleep consultant. I wanted a blue ocean strategy. I wanted to be able to set myself above or differentiate from the industry standard, knowing that there's a consultant for everyone, just like there is a coach for everyone. And so really finding ways to set myself apart, and also building connection. Because when I was a mom with a 1-year-old who had a classroom full of students, who was also building business and trying to be a sane human, I was finding that the only thing keeping me going and keeping me like up at night late and up early in the morning and really motivated was the connection that I had with my people. And so building that connection. So again, going back to industry standard, what's most common in this baby sleep business, sleep coaching business, is that you coach your clients for about 2 weeks, sometimes 3. And in that time, you connect with them on the phone like 4 times. So you just like set up a call. You want to check in with them a couple extra times at the beginning, maybe like 3 times in week 1. You call them up on the phone, check in, see how it's going, and then 1 time at the end. That didn't work for me because I felt like I'll use Rose as an example. Like, okay, Rose, I'm going to talk to you after night 1, and I hope that night 1 went well. Yeah, no comment. And then I'm going to talk to you again after night 3, and then maybe after night 7, and then I'm not going to talk to you again until like night 13 or 14. And that didn't feel right to me. That didn't feel like I was connecting with you. It didn't feel like I was available and present and able to serve you. And yes, my clients were seeing great results. That's actually how Colleen Curtis and I worked together, because she was kind of early in my business. And it worked, and people were happy. But I was like, there's got to be more. Like, there's got to be more to this, even though the industry standard doesn't say there's more to this. And so for me, that meant adding on Voxer, which is a walkie-talkie app, so that my clients could be in contact with me as needed during the 2 weeks. So as needed during the 2 weeks, they send me these walkie-talkie messages using this app, or they send me text messages using this app, and I respond to them, and I connect with them, and I support them in a much different way than most people in the industry are, but it feels better to me. And I know, because I've surveyed my clients, I know that it feels better to them. And so I sort of pushed the industry standard aside. I focused on building the connections with my clients. And then because that felt right to me, because that felt right to them, I was able to change my packages and change my pricing and really set myself apart from other folks in the industry. So to give you an idea, I would say industry standard is about, let's say, $350 for a sleep consultant for like a 2-week period where you get your plan and then you talk to her like 4 times throughout the 2 or 3 weeks. My packages are twice that, they're $700. But that's allowed me to work with fewer people and build connections that are on a deeper level so that families who, like Rose, have already invested in other help, already feel like they're at the end of their rope, already feel like something's got to give, there's got to be more to this. Because of the value that I add for my families, I'm able to have my price point where it is. And that's really cut down on me feeling like this, I have to help everyone, I have to serve everyone, I have to be available for everyone, because again, I've niched down and I found my people. Obviously it's still a work in progress. None of this is perfect, but it's working. So we're going to go with it. So then another thing that I wanted to chat about in terms of industry standard, it's pretty typical within my field that you schedule, before you work with someone, you get them on like a 15-minute free call to pitch them. Like you just get them on a call, you want to hear what their goals are, and then you pitch away whatever your options are. I have found that I want to get on the phone and connect with that person first. And sometimes I don't even pitch. I don't even pitch on the call. Like if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel like the mom's ready, like in Rose's case, she had already invested in other support. She was like, maybe we're on the right track. I'm not really sure. And I said, let's just wait. Let's wait a day or two. So before I got on that call, before I get on any of my evaluation calls, I get in my expert energy. So I have a vision board. I have an evidence file on my computer where like people have said like really awesome things about me and my services. Like, oh my God, Brittney, you changed my life. Or like, I can actually feel like a sufficient mom now that I'm getting sleep. Or I've had a handful of moms tell me that their marriages were nearly over until they started sleeping again and until them and their partner were on the same page. And so I look through that because that's really powerful stuff. And I know you guys get that as well within your coaching, that when you're told that you're changing someone's life, like don't just hear it and let it like go in one ear and out the other. Like you save that stuff and you print it or stick it in a file or put it in a Google Doc and like refer to that before you go live. Like refer to that before you put that post up. It helps you like kind of quiet the mind drama, right? Because in your head, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm not good enough for this. But if you have the evidence in front of you coming from your people, that's proof enough that what you do is impactful and what you do matters. So I really keep my thoughts in check before the call. And that allows me to like remove myself from the answer. Because if I get on a call and let's say I do pitch a $700 package on the call and the mom's like, oh my gosh, Brittney, I'm so sorry. I thought this was going to be $400, not $700. There's no way I can swing this. Because I've gotten an expert energy and because I know that I have hundreds of families who have seen success with this and see the value in it, I'm not attached to the outcome. Like if you're not ready to work with me, that's okay. That's okay. Because like Rose, we didn't even go there. Like we didn't even go there. I was like so sad that she had spent money on these other programs that, you know, got her where she was, but not really to resolution. And I just said like, listen, let's just stay in touch. And I wasn't tied to her outcome. Like I knew that she was going to get the help she needed, even if it wasn't for me. And that's okay. That, you know, and so getting into the expert energy allows me to detach from the outcome, which allows it to be not so like sleazy, slimy, like awkward, salesy, because that doesn't feel right for me. That's just not who I am. Like I'm a teacher. I'm not my dad's a car salesman, so I can say this, but like I'm not a used car salesman. I'm not my dad, and that's okay. And so because I am like in control of my thoughts before I get on the call, I connect with my people. Like, I connect with you. I listen to what your story is. I want to hear what your pain points are. Like, I want to hear why this journey is so freaking hard for you, because that's important to me. Because if I don't know where you're struggling, I don't know where I can help you. And I think that's so in line with what you guys do as well. So then I know through the call, through the connection, through the follow-up, which I'll get to, that I'm adding value to their life. Like, even if they don't work with me, hopefully after talking to me, they have the confidence to make changes on their own. Or hopefully they have the confidence to, like, get on Pinterest and find a sleep plan. Or, you know, ask their partner to help them out, or whatever their little boost needs to be. Hopefully talking to me gives them that. Okay, so this is all before my call. So expert energy, getting my thoughts in check, removing myself or disconnecting from the outcome so it's not like a high pressure sale. And then after my call. So again, industry standard says, like, you call them, you set a timer, you only talk for 15 minutes. At the end, you give a pitch. You should know an answer. Like, it has to be a really hard close. You need to know before you get off the phone. Like, that's not me. So that's not what I do. But I do, before I even hop on the phone with them, everyone fills out an interest form. So I know on there, because I ask, would you rather be contacted via email or text? Because for a tired mom, like, either the email's going to her spam or she's not even checking her email, because that's, like, not priority at all. But we all know that most of the time the text messages are coming through and being responded to in a decent manner, even if it's in the middle of the night. And so I follow that mama's lead on how she wants to communicate with me. And if I haven't heard from her, like, if her initial contact came in at 3 p.m. and I've only ever heard from her, like, between the 3 and 6, I don't send her a message at 9 a.m. because obviously that's not when she's reaching out to me. So she's not free then. So I really follow their lead. I really wait. I check that interest form. I want to make sure that I'm meeting what they prefer. I engage in their struggle. So, like with Rose, I woke up and I legitimately was, and I never lie, of course, to clients, but I legitimately was wondering about them. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really wonder how last night went, because the night before we talked the first time was fairly decent. And then the next night was terrible after we talked. And she's like, oh my, and so I text her. I'm like, hey, Brittney here. I just wanted to let you know I'm thinking about you guys. How was last night? Like, my fingers are crossed for you. And she was like, oh my God, you must have known. It was terrible. It was terrible. And so then we got into conversation. She asked what it would be like. I sent her the information point blank. Like, I'm not going to make you go on my website for 45 minutes and try to figure out how much you're going to have to pay me to work with me. Like, this is what it looks like. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, here's the investment. Again, I'm detached from the outcome. Worst she's going to say is no. So I detach myself. And not always does someone say yes the next time I talk to them. Like, I would say Rose was an exception in that, because I hadn't even pitched on Monday, and by Tuesday she said yes. Pretty quick. And I would say in general, there's a sense of urgency in what I do, because if your kid's not sleeping, you need help like yesterday, not 3 months from now. So I would say that for you guys, because I assume that it might not necessarily be as quick of a conversion, right? They have to sit with it maybe for a little bit longer. And so the follow-up is even more important. I was at a conference last weekend, a mom-owned business conference, talk about finding my people. Those are my people. And I was at this conference, and there was a gal there who was talking about social media marketing. And she had said that the old stat was that it takes 7 touches. So someone has to hear from you or know about you 7 times before they may even register that what you do aligns with what they need. And now they're saying that it's 10 to 12. So because we are as busy humans who have an inability to listen, just in general, it takes us longer to say yes. It takes us more touches, more connection before we're saying yes to people. The great news is, through social media and texting, It doesn't have to be like 7 postcards that you mail out, right? It can be 10 to 12 of something a little bit more quick. But that follow-up is so important. And I would really encourage you, like, if someone reaches out to you on DM, then you communicate with them in DM. Like, that's how they want to communicate. That's how they've indicated that it works for them, until you get them signed up. And then you add them to your group or put them on Voxer or whatever you need to do. And at first I had a really hard time with this because I was getting told, like, streamline, make things work for you. But what I was finding was, like, if a mom was reaching out to me on Facebook message and then I tried to ask her for her number so that I could text her, she didn't want to share her number with me. And that's okay, right? Like, maybe she doesn't want me texting her. She wants me to message her. And really, it's all the same. Like, either I'm messaging her, I'm DMing her, I'm texting her, I'm emailing her. It's the same effort on my part. Like, I have to type out the same message. So I really found, again, different from industry standard, that people were responding more to me and more consistently to me if I was following their lead. Okay, so then the first part, right, is like finding your people by niching down and then getting on the call with them and then following up with them. But then once they say yes, like, now your job has only just begun. And that's really exciting to me, because I then continue to build connection. I engage with my clients, like I said, through the walkie-talkie and texting features of Voxer. I engage with them through a sleep log that we use. I celebrate them, I support them, I help them troubleshoot. And because they've been on this journey with me for most of the time 2 weeks or so, they become my raving fans, and they become what I refer to as my 4 R's. So they become my people who book retainers. So they want to keep me on their team because I have been so valuable to them, because we've connected in such a meaningful way. They become the people who are leaving me reviews. So they're leaving me reviews on my Google page. They're leaving me reviews on Facebook. Kind of alongside the review and also the reference, because of Instagram and mostly Instagram stories, these people who I've connected with and that I've made raving fans of me and my work, they're giving so much social proof to what I do. Because anytime their kid sleeps well, anytime they nap time hustle, anytime they go on a date night with their husband and they're stoked that their kid was asleep at home with grandma, they tag me. And then all I have to do is reshare. And other people see, like, oh, well, it worked for her. Why wouldn't it work for me? Right? And so they become, not only like through formal written paragraph reviews in Google, but also just in those simple tags. Similarly with references, if I have a mom who's on the fence and let's say, like, she really wants to do it, but her husband's just not sure. And, you know, she knows she needs my support, but she's just not sure if she wants to shell out the money, whatever it is. I have people who are raving fans, so much so that I can say, and I haven't asked Rose, but I'm sure she's going to say yes, like, hey, Rose, like, I have a mom who might be interested in working with me. Her daughter is approaching 4 months. Like, would you be able to answer a couple messages over text? And I've never had a former client say no, because their lives have changed and they're happy to tell whoever, right? And so then there's more street cred, because I can tell you till I'm blue in the face how great my services are, but it sounds so different coming from someone else, coming from a client who's worked with me, coming from somebody who's seen success. And so maybe, you know, they share a picture, maybe they tag me in a video of like their toddler's finally happy. Like, oh, that's a win. Let me tag Brittney because my kid's finally, you know, not a jerk because they're not tired anymore. And then finally, these raving fans who I've created through the connection that I've built with them become my referral source. And so, like Rose started out by saying, I found my people. And because I've niched down and found my people, it really is like a really organic cycle of getting more clients, turning them into raving fans, creating more clients, which is how the wait list came to be, and how the agency will essentially be able to sustain itself one day when I'm brave enough to take that leap. And I think, yeah, that's it. So I'd be happy to like answer any questions that you guys have. I hope that you find some correlation and relation between what I do and what you do. And I think to Rose's point, like sometimes it's awesome to hear from someone in a different space, in a different industry. And I hope that was the case.
Yeah, I just love getting your different perspective on everything, and the way like you said certain like the notes that I took. Like the way you said things, I could definitely see like the correlation and how we can um, use it in our business. So the one thing that you said is like find ways to set yourself apart, and we say this all the time. There's a million coaches out there, but there's only one you. Don't try and copy the top coach because that's not you. People are going to know that you're fake and you're not setting yourself apart. So find that thing that sets yourself apart. That's so different. Like, I don't know. Do you do Beachbody at all, Brittany?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, like we run challenge groups and things like that. Like what else or what different things can we do that's going to really highlight us and not just be another group, right? So I love how the app that Brittany's talking about is called Voxer, Voxer. And I knew Jessica signed up for her sleep program because Voxer said, Jessica Bryce is on Voxer. I was like, she got it. and I started talking to her through there. And even Jess was like, I'm going to have my girls and my coaches starting using this, but I think it's a great way, just even, and a little extra thing to use with your clients. Not that you have to do more, because I feel like we do so much, but it's going to set yourself apart. So maybe instead of doing another challenge group, because for me, 6 years into this, another challenge group, and sometimes I want to pull out my hair, doing something different gets me excited. So if I'm excited, then the people that I'm talking to, they're going to feel that excitement too. And what I also loved about Brittany is like with the other sleeping coaches, they didn't have me do a sleep log. I'm like, that's so stupid, like stupid simple. Like I could have freaking like got a notebook and wrote it down, but all she did was do it on Google. And then every day she would look and comment. All right. So why can't we do that with their food, right? They need that extra accountability. Write down what you ate every single day. And at night as a coach, we could just go in there, 2 seconds, check in, say, oh, great. Or hey, for breakfast, why don't you try this? Or hey, why don't you, space out your meals a little bit more? Or you know what, you're not eating enough during the day. So we can kind of like just give that little extra tidbit that's going to set us apart from all the other coaches out there. And phone calls. Man, I used to do, that was all I did in the beginning when I started as a coach, was phone calls, phone calls, phone calls. And now I'm like, you know what? I don't do it anymore. It's all DM. And yeah, like you totally lose that connection and you don't get that. People don't get to hear your passion from it either. So that was a good reminder for me. Like I definitely need to get back in the habit of getting people on the phone. And I have 2 for tomorrow, which is cool because I haven't, like I said, sometimes it's like you get such in a rut and such in a habit of doing things that you forget kind of like where you started. I'm going to shut up for now, but if anyone else has any questions or anything that they want to just share, you can unmute yourselves or use the chat. And I told Brittany, they're either going to be really quiet or we'll have a lot of questions. Wink, wink.
And she told me to take it super personally if you're quiet. Like, just because, yeah. Just kidding.
Don't make me talk more. Come on.
Have any of you used Voxer, either like within your family or with friends or clients? It really has like revolutionized my life.
And in the beginning, I was like, man, why did she just like freaking text me? Like, I have to get another damn app. But I don't know, for some reason, it really does make a difference. Absolutely.
Boxer, but I use HeyTell all the time, which is probably similar. And literally, that's the only way me and my boyfriend communicate. If he actually calls me, that's pretty much, I know it's like important. but like daily to do, or like this is what we do, it's all through HeyTell.
Yep.
Makes it easier.
And the other one that's similar, I hadn't heard of HeyTell, but is Marco Polo. It's a similar like feature in terms of the walkie-talkie, and it just makes it so easy. Like you don't have to get on someone's schedule. You don't have to get them on your calendar. You know, you don't have to like carve out 25 minutes for these support calls, because bottom line is like no one has 25 minutes, but they have 25 seconds.
You can actually hear like the personality in the voice. Like if I'm mad at him, he knows I'm mad, because he can actually hear instead of like a text or something like that, or a phone call that he's going to hang up on.
Right.
So I'll ask you one question, is in the beginning, how did you find clients, and how's that? I feel like now your entire business is all referrals. So in the beginning, because I think that's the hardest thing, especially for new coaches or when they feel stuck, is like, how do you even get started? Like, where did you kind of turn to first?
Yeah. So the first thing I did is when I got home from training, my mentor had encouraged us to send an email just like introducing our business to at least 50 friends and family. And so I sent an email and I just said like, hey, this is unofficially official. I don't have a website yet. I don't even have a Facebook. I wasn't even on Facebook, you guys. I had nothing. I was like, but here she is. And I think that, you know, and did I expect like my dad's cousin to become a client? Like, no, he was 60 something years old and doesn't even have kids, but he volunteers at a fire department in Colorado, and all the actual firefighters, not the volunteers, were all like these like young men who had young families. And like, sure enough, my great cousin Larry, or second cousin Larry, has been like a referral source for me, which was very unexpected. But I think that, you know, don't underestimate the influence of your circle, because you just never know. I think I had an advantage in that 2.5 years ago, or about almost 2.5 years ago, no one really knew about sleep consulting. So it was sort of this novelty that was exciting. But I think finding anything really timely. So like, for example, I will inevitably get clients brand new, not referral based, because daylight savings is coming up, and like all parents, even if their kids are good sleepers and even if their kids are like in middle school, they still panic just a little bit to know that like that 5 o'clock wake up becomes 4 o'clock. And so finding things that apply to what's happening now. So like for you guys with like the holidays, of course, with, you know, like that season, the weight gain season from like Halloween through New Year. I mean, even with the, you know, like time change or anything like that, like, okay, so it's going to be getting darker an hour earlier than we're used to. So you're probably not gonna be able to go on a run anymore. So what are you gonna do? Because like it used to get dark at 7 and now it's gonna be 6. And so, you know, finding ways to make a current event or a current happening like daylight savings promote one of your services, which would be Beachbody on Demand, right? Like you can't run in the dark, or you can, but that's not a very good idea. And so instead, like, you know, why wouldn't you try this? So I would say, initially it was reaching out within my circle. And then the good thing was that I came quickly upon daylight savings because I launched in the fall. And then the other thing I did was I sent a story to my local newspaper, and we live in a town of like 12,000 people. So it's nothing crazy in terms of size. But I sent a story outlining like who I was, and it was just like a press release to the local newspaper. And the reporter ended up wanting to interview me. And so we went to coffee and she interviewed me, and she just wanted to hear about my business. And it was it went out in like the business section on a Friday. And then I had like this online article, and I had like the actual newspaper, and I took pictures of it and I posted all over my social media, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is real. And again, that social proof, right? Like you're not going to be in the newspaper if you don't actually have a business. And so I think that really helped to prove some legitimacy behind what I was doing. So, you know, any sort of publication, any sort of writing or blogging, if you're into that, to be like a guest on someone's blog or to be interviewed on someone's podcast. That's the other thing. Like the millennial mom is all about the podcast. So anytime that I'm on a podcast, I just like push the heck out of it on social media. And then again, it's like, oh, she appeared on it as an expert on like Momfidence podcast, or she was on Moms Who Know, and not only does that give me a little bit of content to put on my website, because I can say like as seen on or as heard on, but it also allows me, if I'm sharing that, then the podcast producer surely has social media and they're sharing me. And so that would be another thing that happened. I want to say my first newspaper was October, and then my first podcast was November. So like 2.5 months in. And that was super helpful as well. And then like never being afraid to give free information. And I think that's the other thing. Like I spend a lot of time on Instagram stories, on Q&As, on Facebook events, like just sharing my knowledge. And I'm not afraid, because honestly, like if all they need is just like a little tidbit about a bedtime routine, then they don't need me.
Until
right?
Daylight savings.
Right, exactly. And I'm fine if they don't need me, because if I'm able to help them given a free tip or given a Q&A through my Instagram stories, I know they know someone who isn't sleeping. And if I'm able to help them with a free tip, imagine what I'm going to help their friend with a paid package. Right. And so it gives that little teaser while proving your expertise and providing social proof. And then it just sort of can snowball.
Very cool. Awesome. Awesome. Well, if nobody has any last questions or comments, I will say, Brittney, thank you. Thank you. Awesome information. I did record this, so I can send you the recording and then I'll post it in our team page.
Okay, wait, I have to take a
yeah, we'll do a
let me put it, can I put it in like a different mode? Here we go.
Yes, on the top.
Gallery mode.
And then if you guys are not putting your kid to sleep and can show your picture, that would be great. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thanks,
Got
guys.
Ashley in at the last second. Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks. I appreciate it. And I hope that was useful. If anybody has any questions, you can reach out to Rose to get my contact info, be them sleep questions or biz or otherwise. And if anybody wants to write a blog, to go on my blog about like healthy mom life, let me know. I'm always
cool
to share other people's stuff. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, if you wanted to also send me your website, and I'll put that along with the team recording.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks,
everyone. Have a good night. Thanks.